Good morning from Jonesboro, Arkansas, March 7th, 2025, 7:49 a.m. Walter at the Network Architect reminded me I needed to do this. Now, he didn't call me and say, hey, moron, you forgot to do the earnings call for EVGO. He didn't do that. But he posted a video the other day talking a little bit about it. And if I can remember, I'll probably forget. If I can remember, I will put a link to his video in the description. And if I can remember, I'll put a link to this video in the description. It's amazing someone with a memory as good as mine forgets to do simple things like that. One thing y'all don't know about me is I have a phenomenal memory compared to most people. But I can't remember to do that for some reason. Okay, here we go. Earnings call. Now, in my opinion, now I'm like that goofball on CNBC, Kramer. I'm like him. You should do the opposite of what I do, probably. Because if I was going to invest in any EV charging company, it would be this one. But, man, the problem is there's so many great investments out there. So many almost sure things. It's hard to invest in something that's not almost a sure thing because there's so many places you can put your money that's pretty darn safe. You know, so it's a difficult thing to do, but if it drops a little bit more, I'm going to buy another 100 shares. Anyway, Q4 2024 earnings call. Blah, 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 blah. Or that's where the lawyers made some money. Strategic overview. 269 kilowatt hours, up 37% over Q4 a year ago. Another record quarter closing out a record year. Ninth sequential quarter of double-digit charging revenue growth. 60% fiscal year 24 revenue growth versus fiscal year 23. Awesome job. 480 new stalls added in Q4. 37% up. 4,080 stalls in operation. Over 4,000 stalls. Incredible. Department of Energy loan, $1.25 billion. I do not like when companies take on debt. But in this situation, I mean, they need to grow. And from what Walter says of the Network Architect, they have enough money. They have $80 million cash, he said. Now, this is cash and cash equivalents. According to Walter, they have $80 million cash. And also according to him in his video he did, that's enough money for them to survive an entire year without any revenue whatsoever. I'm just always worried about paying back these loans. Oh, you know. And also according to Walter, I have not confirmed this, but he seems like the type of guy that really knows what he's talking about. When he says something, I don't think he just spouts nonsense. I don't think he does. There's a couple people I really trust out there to do their research. It's Walter at Network Architect and Jim at Jim's EV Adventures. If he tells you something, you can take it to the bank. He's done research. He don't just spout out propaganda. No matter how painful the truth may be or how glorious it may be, he's going to tell you the truth. Yeah, I'll put a link to his channel on here too. His name is Jim, and lives in Florida. Man, he's got a nice house. By the way, I'm jealous. Yeah, but anyway, both of them, they do their research. I promise you. 121 million cash and cash equivalents. But yes, I'll put a link to both of their channels if I can remember to do so. U.S. electric vehicle sales have grown significantly, but behind other markets. You can look at this if you want to. Now, right here it says number of BEV models available in U.S. 97 versus 45 just a few years ago. Available is a very loose term. You know, could I really get all 97 of these? But there's no doubt about it. There are a lot more available now than there was just a few years ago. Because I've always said, people who hate EVs, you don't have to spout nonsense. There are true negatives to EVs. Very few, but they are there. And one of them I've always said is, one of the negatives is lack of choice. Well, that is going away. That is disappearing. It's not going to be much longer, and I'm going to quit saying that. But yeah, 2023, 2022, I always told the EV haters, look, just complain about the lack of choice. You don't have to make up nonsense. I mean, that's a legitimate complaint. There's not much to choose from. Well, that's changing, folks. And look here. There are 91 chargers per battery electric vehicle. Excuse me while I interrupt myself. That was a stupid mistake. There are not 91 chargers for every electric car. There's 91 electric cars for every charger. In China, it's 17 to 1. So I got that backwards. Didn't notice until I was editing it. It's common. I always make mistakes without noticing until I'm in the editing process. But sorry about that. I got it backwards. So there, I corrected it. China is 17. Now this shows there's a potential to have so much growth in the EV charging system. We can have so much growth and not be oversaturated. There's a lot of potential out there. EVGO's resilient business model delivers growth. Yay! You can look this if you want. I'm going to move on to this video. I don't want to touch on every single thing because this video will be 2 hours long. And I know y'all don't want to hear me bloviate that much. Our priorities, customer, read this. Pause and read if you want. I'm moving on. Now look at this. I don't know why they put this basis points here. EVGO always does this in their presentations. Maybe other people do too. Maybe it's just because this 1600 just looks like such a huge number. I figure most of y'all know, if you don't, a basis point is 1/100th of a percent. Is that right? Anyway, move the decimal point 2 spots. Yeah, 16. 16%. I mean, we can do math. 34 from 50 is 16. 13 from 20 is 7. 700 basis points is 7%. I guess they just do it just to make it look good. Just so you know, look at this. Look at this huge number. But sites with 6 DC stalls, 6 plus, man, that's awesome. 20% now. I love seeing this because, man, we need locations with a lot of stalls so nobody has to wait. Stall served by a 350 kilowatt hour charger, which does me no good. I drive a Nero, which has 75 maximum kilowatts. My wife a Bolt, which has 50, I think, maybe 55 maximum. Ugh. Anyway, this is good for you folks that can afford fast charging cars. Good for you. Y'all probably made more good decisions than bad decisions in life. Because my favorite motto, saying, whatever you want to call it, is from Ken Hamblin, the Black Avenger. He used to be on talk radio. Ken Hamblin used to say, you are the sum total of every good and bad decision you make in life. So those of you that have like Rivians and the Hummer EV, y'all probably made more good decisions than bad decisions in life. Good for you. Good for you. One and done successful experience rate. That means you plug it up and it works. Up to 95%. That's incredible. And this, I love auto charge. Auto charge is so phenomenal. You just got to remember to take your car off the auto charge system if you ever trade it in or sell it. Don't forget to do that, or somebody's going to plug up and you're going to pay for it. Then you have to call your credit card and say, I didn't do it. I don't know what happened. And they'll have, yeah, it'll be a big mess. Anyway, it's 24%. That's awesome. Okay, you can, we're moving on. And we're moving on, so this video isn't 2 hours long. They closed on a $1.25 million Department of Energy LPO, Loan Protect, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what that means. Loan Guarantee in December 2024. Financial overview. 4,080 stalls, up from 2,980 a year ago. And it's almost doubled from 2 years ago. Customer accounts, over 1,300. Now, throughput normally means the amount of data put through a computer system or not. I can't think of the word, but it usually refers to data, amount of data going through the system. And I guess that's what they mean here. I don't know, but 200. Anyway, it's up. Revenue 257 million biggins. Look at this. Only 22 million just 3 years ago, to 55 million, to 161 million, to 257 million dollars. Awesome job. Gross margin 38%. Wow, up from 26% last year. Adjusted earnings before income tax, depreciation, and amortization. Walter said he did not know what DNA meant, or he forgot what it meant. It means depreciation and amortization. Now I know what earnings is. I know what before is. I know what income tax is. I know what depreciation is. I'm not real sure what amortization is. I know what it means, but I couldn't really explain it to you. Somebody put in the comments exactly what it means if you don't mind. But look at this. They only lost 13%. Look at these numbers. They lost 231% just 3 years ago. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you can look at this if you want. We're moving on. And another one. You can pause and look at it if you want to. Gross margins. Here's another thing that just talked about. 37% up from round off 38%, round up from 26%. And right here, adjusted earnings before income tax, depreciation, and amortization only lost $8 million. 8.4 million, lost 14 million the year before. Look at this. Earnings, EBI TDA loss improved by $26.4 million. 2024 ended with $121 million in cash equivalents, and restricted cash. Now, I know what cash and cash equivalents are. I don't know what restricted cash is. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is you put money into a a CD that you're not supposed to draw out for a year. I don't think that's it. Somebody can educate me if you want to. And if you're done looking at this, we're getting on to the next page. Look at this, 81% improvement on adjusted gross profit. Wow. Now this, look at this. I find this hard to believe. I was thinking this can't be right. I must be looking at something wrong, because there is no way that each stall averaged $54,000 over a quarter. It just isn't possible. But maybe it is. Hey Google, what is 54,461 divided by 90? Go. $605 a day per stall. I guess that's possible. I would have never thought that. I would have guessed $200 a day. $600 a day average per stall on a 90-day quarter, which it isn't hardly ever exactly 90 days, but that is just amazing. I don't know what this means, top 15% by throughput. I have no idea what this means. So I know what throughput normally means, data transfer, but I don't know. And look at this. Cost of services? Is that it? COS, cost of services? 24 cents a kilowatt hour. Maybe that's what they pay for it on average. And anyway, the gross margin, gross profit, $21,000 per stall. Wow. Yeah, that I was just shocked by this number. I never would have dreamed that they brought in this much money for each stall. Unless I still think, man, am I looking at it wrong? I mean, it's plain old Arkansas language. You know, sometimes I'll say, speaking in plain Arkansas language when I can't get a word out. I mean, it's pretty simple. Maybe I don't know, but that's amazing. Now this, I believe, is the EVGO Plus. Is that what it's called? EVGO Extend network. Yes, it shows how many, because from what I understand, Flying J is part of the EVGO Extend network, and they get the money from the charging. And so I thought Flying J was buying the chargers from EVGO, and they were just owning them instead of them being owned by EVGO and them collecting the money when you pull up and plug in. But from what I've lately understood, something I've learned is EVGO doesn't make chargers. That's what Watcher says at the network architect. I didn't know that. I thought they made these things. And so anyway, excuse me. But this is a little bit different than most EVGO chargers. Most times when you plug up, EVGO is getting the money. From what I understand, I may be wrong, if it's part of the Extend network, such as Flying J and Pilot, then they get the money when you plug up. But here's what they expect to do in the future with that. Now this is guidance. They expect $340 to $380 million in revenue in 2025, an adjusted EBI TDA, negative $5 million to plus $10 million. Could they break even in 2025? Could they possibly break even? If they break even, I predict their stock price is going up For those who, I don't have a camera on me, so my thumb was going up when I did that. Yeah, it's going to go up some. It could go up 20-30% in one day. It could. But who knows? Because there's only two types of investors. There are two types of investors. Those that don't know what's going to happen, and those that don't know that they don't know what's going to happen. I have a relative, he's a big time investor, and I'm always teasing him with that because he just thinks he knows what's going to happen. He's been predicting the downfall of Tesla since day one. I remember once he told me, and I brought this up to him before too, every time he says something negative about Tesla, I say, yeah, and you're the one that said, I looked at their finances personally, and I figured out it is impossible for them to make a profit. So he shorted Tesla, and he lost money. So. But anyway, that's the two types of investors. Those that don't know what's going to happen, and those that don't know that they don't know what's going to happen. I'm in the first group. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, I guess that's it. Well, let's see here. Okay. EVGO Public Network, 3,450 stalls. Dedicated network, 110. I'm not sure what dedicated network is. Let's see here. Stalls at charging stations that we own and operate on our network that are only available to dedicated fleet customers. Okay, gotcha. And 520 EVGO Extend. Like Pilot, Flying J, and whatnot. Man, that's a big increase. Only had 420% increase. Only had 100 at the end of 2023. Wow. Excuse me. I would get a drink of something, but there's nothing in here. I've already finished my coffee. Cash and cash. Here you can look at this. This tells you all kinds of stuff. And I have not looked at this yet, so give me just a second. And, and there's something about this. We do 100% of our trading through a Roth IRA. So I'm not worried about short-term capital gains, long-term capital gains. I'm not worried about dividends, how they are taxed, because different dividends are taxed differently. Some of them are taxed as ordinary income. You have to pay whatever your income tax rate is. And I don't worry about that because mine's in a Roth. I believe a Roth IRA is, I had a nephew recently had his 16th birthday. And I said, you need to get your parents, I'm pounding on the desk now for emphasis, you need to get your parents to set up a Roth IRA. Do it. Do it now when you're 16. That way you won't be poor like me when you're 59. I don't care about the tax break when I don't care if I was 20 years old. I don't care. I'm going to pay the taxes and put mine in a Roth. I don't want a traditional if I'm 20 years old. I want a Roth, but that's just me. If you don't know, a Roth, you never pay income tax, ever. You never pay any type of tax when you take the money out, as long as you wait till you're 59 and a half. And you can take out what you've put in at any moment, like a savings account, from what I understand. See a tax attorney, blah, blah, blah. Don't sue me if I tell you something wrong. But a traditional, you get the tax break now. You don't have to pay income tax on it, but you're going to pay taxes later. And yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. But anyway, moving on. Sorry about my bloviating. I was telling the urchins at school the other day that I was a blatherskite, which I use that word a lot. And if they never had me before, because I go from room to room to room. I don't have any dedicated room. They're like, what's a blatherskite? They always ask that. And I say, someone that talks a whole lot but doesn't make any sense. And at least one or two will usually always say, I got a brother that's a blatherskite, or I got a sister that's a blatherskite. But anyway, we're moving on. And I think we're about done. But let me know what you think about this. Are you planning on buying EVGO? Like I said, in my opinion, the only problem with it is there's some things out there that's almost a sure thing. Like Microsoft. Microsoft is so cheap right now. Geez. And Microsoft, it's almost like having your own technology ETF. Microsoft has so many different ways of making money. It's almost like an own ETF, and it's less than $400 right now. It's so cheap. The dividend's only 0.8%, but they have a history of raising that dividend, and man, it's almost a sure thing. Again, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but Microsoft, how can I invest in EVGO when Microsoft is almost a sure thing, down the road? How? That's my only problem with buying a stock in this company. But still, it's so cheap right now, and I think it could do really well. it'd be hard not to buy 100 measly shares. And then again, even if it doubled, would it really matter? Because it'd be such a little money. I guess 100% of $200 is the same as 100% of $200,000, right? Yeah, okay. Not really, but sort of. All right, more lawyerly nomenclature. More lawyerly nomenclature. I used that word with the kids the other day. Nomenclature. Anyway, the process of naming things, especially in science, if you don't know. And they wanted an example, and I told them, I said, okay, a strike in bowling is when you knock all the pins down at once. That's bowling nomenclature. But a strike in baseball is when the batter swings at the ball and misses. That's baseball nomenclature. You know, it's the same word, two different sports, two different uses of nomenclature. I always try to teach the kids new words if I can, even if it's words that you can't use in normal situations, because people, and it's hard to use that word. But still, I just think knowledge is good. Knowledge is always good. If you learn anything, there's no such thing as useless knowledge. No such thing. You know, and I was using it in the context of weight and measures nomenclature. I could have written on the board, I could have written weight and measures terminology. But no, I want to use nomenclature. That way they would learn something. Weights and measures nomenclature. And I put what a foot was, what a mile was, what an astronomical unit was, what a light year was, what a parsec was, and explained it to them. But anyway, I'm bloviating. I'm sorry. That's what I do. I crawl down these rabbit holes. And do you have enough time to pause that? There you go. I crawl down these rabbit holes and just start yakking and don't know when to shut up. But anyway, all right, we're going to get done now. We're done. We're finished. Is this thing ever going to end? Okay, that's it. All right. Y'all subscribe. Give me the thumbs up. Ring the bell. Remember that song from the 70s or 80s? You can ring my bell. Ring my bell. Anyway, I can't sing. I absolutely cannot sing at all. God did not grant me with that skill at all. All right, y'all have a good day.